When I turned 18, my parents threw me out of the house with nothing but a backpack and $50 to my name. "You're a failure," my father growled as I stumbled down the driveway that had always looked perfect. No daughter of mine would pick art over medical school. My mother stood next to him, her arms folded, her diamond tennis bracelet sparkling in the sunlight. "We've given you everything, Sarah, and this is how you repay us? By throwing your life away." Everything they gave me always came with conditions. The piano lessons I loved were only for my college application. The art supplies I cherished were allowed because they thought it would make me look better on my resume. Even volunteering at the animal shelter had to stop because it wasn't prestigious enough for them. I still remember standing at the edge of the driveway, watching those huge iron gates close behind me. The house I grew up in, with its luxurious columns and perfect gardens, suddenly felt like a cage I was escaping. But leaving at 18, broke and without a plan, was terrifying. That's when Aunt Isabella showed up. I didn't know she was there that day. I didn't realize she had been watching everything from her sleek black Mercedes parked down the street. My father's older sister, Aunt Isabella, had always been the family's black sheep. Unlike my father, who became a surgeon for the prestige, she built a tech empire from scratch. "Get in," she said, pulling up beside me. I had always admired Aunt Isabella. She was the opposite of my parents, kind, genuine, and more interested in who I was as a person than who I could become in the eyes of others. She looked every bit the CEO in her tailored suit and Louboutin heels. But her smile was warm and reassuring. "They're wrong about you, Sarah," she said as we drove away. "Art isn't just about pretty pictures. It's about seeing the world differently. And that's what makes you special." That day changed everything. Aunt Isabella didn't just give me a place to stay. She gave me a new beginning. Her penthouse became my safe haven. Her mentorship became my guide. While my parents told everyone I'd run away, Aunt Isabella helped me apply to art school. She saw what they called it, that I had the potential to change the way people interact with technology through my designs. For the next 5 years, I thrived. I graduated at the top of my class and joined Isabella's company, Montgomery Tech, creating innovative user interfaces. My parents never reached out, not a single call. Their silence stung, but Aunt Isabella's pride in me soothed those wounds. "You're exactly where you're meant to be," she'd remind me when I stayed up late working on deadlines. What I didn't know was that she was sick. Cancer. Terminal. She had been diagnosed 6 months earlier, but had kept it from me. She still came to work every day, still mentored me, still pushed the company forward. The day she passed, I lost more than an aunt. I lost the only parent who truly saw me. Her funeral was just as she'd have wanted, elegant, understated, focused on celebrating her life. I sat in the front row in the Channel suit she bought me for my first board meeting, holding back tears as people shared stories of her brilliance and kindness. Then I saw them. My parents walked in as if they owned the place. Mom in her designer black, Dad in a tailored suit. They looked older, worn down by time. Money couldn't hide the bitterness etched into their faces. They spotted me right away, and my mother's voice was sickly sweet as she approached. "Oh, Sarah, we've been so worried." I almost laughed. 5 years of silence, and now they were worried. "What are you doing here?" I asked, keeping my tone calm. Aunt Isabella had taught me how to handle pressure with grace. "She was my sister," my father said stiffly. "Of course we're here. And you? It's time to come home, Sarah. This little rebellion has gone on long enough." Before I could respond, a tall woman in an impeccable suit interrupted us. "Miss Montgomery," she said, addressing me. "I'm Victoria Chen, your aunt's attorney. The will reading is about to begin. Could you join me, please?" My parents' expressions shifted instantly. "The will?" My father's voice sharpened with interest. But we're her only family, surely. Victoria's expression remained professional, though I caught a hint of satisfaction in her eyes. "All will be explained soon," she replied. We gathered in a small, tense room. My parents sat across from me, pretending to be concerned while clearly anticipating the contents of the will. I held onto the silver key pendant Aunt Isabella had given me for my birthday, engraved with the words "Future Unlocked." Victoria opened her briefcase, and before she began, she asked me to show her the pendant. My parents looked confused as I handed it over. She nodded, then proceeded. "To my brother Richard and his wife Margaret." My father leaned forward eagerly. "I leave the same thing they gave my niece Sarah 5 years ago, $50 and the opportunity to walk away." The room exploded. "This is a joke," my father roared, his face turning red. "I'm her only sibling." But Victoria calmly continued reading the will as if he hadn't spoken. "To my beloved niece, Sarah Montgomery, I bequeath my entire estate. This includes, but is not limited to, my controlling shares in Montgomery Tech, valued at $2.8 billion, all real estate holdings, both domestic and international, my complete investment portfolio, and full ownership of Montgomery Industries." My mother's designer handbag slipped from her grasp, hitting the floor with a soft thud. "This can't be true," she whispered in disbelief. Miss Chen continued without pause. "Furthermore, I formally appoint Sarah Montgomery as my successor, effective immediately upon my passing, to assume the roles of CEO of Montgomery Tech and President of Montgomery Industries." The key hanging around my neck suddenly felt heavier. This was what Aunt Isabella had been preparing me for all along. The late nights spent reviewing financial reports, the board meetings she insisted I attend, the business courses she encouraged me to take alongside my art degree. It hadn't been mere mentorship. It was training. "This is preposterous," my father bellowed, shoving his chair back so hard it nearly toppled over. "She's nothing but a naive girl who sketches pictures. She has no business running a multi-billion-dollar empire." Miss Chen calmly retrieved another document from her folder. "On the contrary, Sarah has effectively overseen Montgomery Tech's UI/UX division for the past year, leading to a 40% increase in user satisfaction and a significant boost in stock value." Isabella meticulously documented Sarah's contributions. Instantly, my mother shifted tactics. Her expression softened into one of motherly concern as she reached for my hand. "Sweetheart," she began in a soothing tone. I pulled away. "This is far too great a burden for someone your age. Let us help you. We're family after all." "Family?" My voice was steady yet firm. "Family doesn't abandon their daughter with nothing but $50. Family doesn't turn their back on their child for pursuing her dreams. Aunt Isabella was my real family. Sarah," my father's voice darkened with warning, "think carefully about your next move. We will challenge this will. You are clearly not equipped to handle such an enormous responsibility." For the first time, Miss Chen smiled. Isabella anticipated such a reaction. She slid a flash drive across the table. "This contains 5 years' worth of documented attempts by both of you to access Isabella's personal accounts, including falsified documents bearing her forged signature. She kept meticulous records. Additionally, she documented your efforts to bribe board members to vote against Sarah's initiatives." The color drained from my parents' faces. Miss Chen wasn't finished. "Furthermore, there is a letter addressed to Sarah." She handed me an envelope, my name elegantly inscribed in Aunt Isabella's familiar handwriting. "My dearest Sarah, if you're reading this, then everything has unfolded exactly as I expected. Once again, your parents have revealed their true nature, but you, my brilliant girl, are more prepared than you realize. I didn't choose you as my heir simply because you are my niece. I chose you because you've proven yourself over the past 5 years. You possess every trait a true leader needs. Your artistic vision isn't a weakness, it's your greatest strength. You see opportunities where others see obstacles. You understand that technology should serve humanity, not the other way around. The key around your neck is more than just a symbol. In my private safe, the combination is your birthday. Inside, you'll find everything you need to lead this company, including certain projects I kept confidential from the board. One in particular, Project Legacy, has the power to change everything. Your parents never understood that true wealth isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in impact. Never let anyone convince you that you were not ready. You've been ready from the moment you decided to stay true to yourself, even when it costs you everything. With all my love, Aunt Isabella. P.S. The safe also contains evidence of your father's involvement in some rather dubious medical practices. Use it if necessary. I carefully folded the letter, feeling an unexpected surge of strength. When I lifted my gaze, my parents were whispering furiously to each other. "Miss Chen," I said, my voice unwavering, "please arrange for security to escort my parents off the premises. Also prepare legal documents bearing them from entering any Montgomery Tech properties." "You ungrateful little," my father began, his face contorted with rage. I cut him off. "I'm not finished. draft a press release announcing my appointment as CEO, and schedule a board meeting for tomorrow morning. My mother's expression turned venomous. "You'll regret this," she seethed as security arrived. "This isn't over." "Actually it is," I replied, standing tall, channeling every ounce of the poise Aunt Isabella had instilled in me. "Oh, and Dad, I'm sure the medical board would be very interested in Project Legacy's findings regarding your unethical procedures." Their faces turned ghostly pale. As they were escorted out, Miss Chen looked at me with a small, approving smile. "Your aunt would be proud. The board members who worked with you in UI/UX have already pledged their support. The meeting is set for 9:00 a.m. That evening, I sat in Aunt Isabella's office, my office now, staring at her portrait on the wall. The safe contained everything she had promised: corporate documents, Project Legacy files, and irrefutable evidence ensuring my parents would never trouble me again. 1 year later, Montgomery Tech launched Project Legacy, a groundbreaking healthcare application designed to make quality medical care accessible to all, not just the wealthy. The press called it revolutionary. The board called it our greatest innovation. My father called his lawyer, but by then, his medical license had already been revoked. My mother attempted to reconnect when our stock tripled. I had her number blocked. The key pendant still rests against my chest, but I no longer need it as a reminder of who I am. I am Sarah Montgomery, CEO of Montgomery Tech. Like Aunt Isabella, I believe power should be used to uplift others, not to control them. Sometimes late at night, I sit in my office, surrounded by blueprints of future innovations, and I swear I can feel her presence, watching over me, smiling at the legacy we are building together. She taught me that success isn't about proving others wrong. It's about proving yourself right. As for my parents, last I heard, they downsized to a modest home in the suburbs. Turns out, living beyond your means eventually catches up with you. But I don't waste my time thinking about them anymore. I'm too busy changing the world. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Stay tuned.